What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Sound Money Podcast. I am your host, Steve McGarry, where we talk about everything around the economy and the technology businesses are using to navigate to the current state of the digital economy. And if that sounds good to you, definitely stick around to the end. Smash the like button. It helps YouTube know that I'm doing a good job. And it also lets me know that this is the type of content you guys are interested in. So the things I wanted to go over today is just a quick hit list on ways that you can save money during an economic turn down or downturn that is being caused by macro effects. And this is, in this case, in 2020, COVID. If you guys are not familiar with that word, YouTube's probably going to index this video differently because I just said it. But the reality is that there is a recession and we are in it. And no matter what the stock market is saying, there is a lot of chaos going on Main Street. Small businesses are shutting down. Banks are tightening restrictions around deploying debt and credit to small businesses, almost like a life raft to small businesses. They're trying to protect themselves. And there is a lot of chaos going on that you do not see behind the scenes, but you do see the stock market pumping because the Fed is very much printing a lot of money and buying up various different types of assets, and people have confidence that their bags are going to go up. So I wanted to go over some basic ways that you can save money in your day-to-day life as an average person in the United States and globally. This applies to everybody. So the first one is eliminating debt. Now, this is one that a lot of people get kind of tired of hearing, but the reality is that car loans are going to keep you suppressed for a very long time. And this is something that hits very near and dear to me because with our rental properties that we have, we see a lot of applicants that come in with a lot of automotive debt, a lot of, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 loans for these vehicles and $500, $600 monthly payments in some cases. And the income, the debt to income ratios don't even work out, which is very frustrating to see that they have actually been able to get these loans, and they're very paralyzing, and they just vacuum up a lot of income immediately. So eliminate your debt. If that's a car, just get rid of the car, sell the car, buy a cheaper car outright for $5,000, $2,000, $3,000, whatever. Buy a beater and don't have a monthly payment. You have your insurance payment and your registration, obviously, for the state that you're in, if you're in the US, and I'm sure that the UK does it similarly. But I do highly recommend not having a car payment. That is something that I have seen personally really deplete people's income immediately, and it's just a slow bleed over time when it comes to being able to save and finally get ahead of things. If you have student loan debt, definitely think about consolidation and try and work on ways that you can navigate around, making adjusted payments and things like that towards student loan debt, and then also work on the credit card debt transferring a balance to 0% interest accounts. So what'll happen is that if there's two separate banks, one has a 10% interest rate on your credit card debt, and another one, if you transfer it over, has 0% for a period of time, you can transfer that balance over and have 0% and still carry a balance. I never recommend carrying a balance. This is not financial advice, but always pay off. Never buy anything you can't afford right out of the gate. If it is the case and you need to carry a balance, make sure that you're transferring to places that have 0% interest. So when you do carry that balance, it is not adding an immense amount of pressure on the top there for you to repay back. The next one is setting goals. So set up some different types of goals with income and savings. So whenever I talk to people that are, in the startup space, in the crypto space, in the investing space, I always ask about income streams. Like, what are you doing for income streams wise? Do you have 5, 1, 2, 10? How many income streams do you have set up? And what are the expenses? How do you outlay the expenses in a spreadsheet? Your utilities, mortgage, rent, your food bills with groceries, your cell phone bill, things like that. So itemized expenses. How much are you bringing in with your income wise? How many streams are you distributed across? Do you have 10 income streams that are distributed 10% each? What does that look like? And a lot of the times that I ask this question to people in DMs and things like that, there is a little bit of confusion around how to set up those income streams. And the only way to set those up is to set a goal. You need to say, all right, I want to add a new income stream this year. I'm going to start a blog. I'm going to start a Fiverr page. I'm going to start an Upwork profile. I'm going to start doing Amazon affiliate marketing. I'm going to buy an online business and generate some cash flow through that. There's just so many different ways, but you have to start with a goal. You have to say, all right, I'm going to have one new one this year. I'm going to have 2 this year. I'm going to have 3 this year. I'm going to have 5 this year. It just really needs to be set with a goal first. So that's on the top end for income. Income's by far and away the most important part to financial independence that I've talked about many times on the pod in the past. But I highly recommend that people set those goals on income and then savings-wise. I think people often forget that those two are very important and they run in tandem together. But savings-wise, you're really going to want to try and save 20 to 30% of income that you're making. And when I say save, I mean invest. That's my way of looking at it in saving. Some people would say, like, isn't that a savings account? No, it is investing. You are moving money just into a different account. I've also mentioned in the past, think of an investment property as literally a bank account. You're transferring money over, whether it's leveraged over into a new account, or just look at it as bank accounts everywhere. If you're moving it into the stock market, look at it as a Fidelity account or an E-Trade account, or just look at it as a bank account somewhere else that's actually able to accumulate some value over time instead of just a basic savings account. That's not not the best strategy whatsoever. That money is not growing at all. It's important to have some savings that's set aside for emergencies, 2-3 months of emergencies, as a 2-3 months of expenses for an emergency and whatnot. But I do always recommend that people think of investing and moving money into different assets as savings. Some people may get confused by that, but if you get confused by that, shoot me a DM. I'll definitely walk you through that. Pay yourself first is the next one. And this is something that I do and took me a while to get used to doing it. But if you're operating a business, which I always recommend people start up side businesses and things like that, always pay yourself first. Make sure that you're protected, because if you're not protected and you don't have a financial cushion, if you're not having investments and income streams for yourself, all your ventures and your businesses and your career kind of come crumbling down. So make sure that you can lay that foundation. Always invest in that foundation first, so then you can make things happen. It's kind of a thing that people struggle with a lot, especially frugal people. They struggle with paying themselves things in amounts as it goes on, as they grow. But that's very important. Very, very, very important. A mentor told me that years ago, and I never really took it that seriously until I started, getting more responsibilities, investing money in real estate and things like that. I really honed in on the fact that you got to pay yourself first, take care of yourself so that you can actually make these investments in the future and take care of those income streams. So the next one is going to be slow down / stop your vices. So alcohol consumption, smoking, if you haven't already quit, definitely quit. All the different types of vices that come out of the woodwork during recessions where people are freaked out. Things aren't looking good. The news is going crazy. People are always so stressed. Definitely quit the vices, or slow them down at least. Make sure that you're not just hemorrhaging money every month going out to these vices to really, unplug yourself. There's many other really great ways. Exercise, meditation, things like that can really help you get out of your own head. Don't have to suppress it with a vice that costs a substantial amount of money. The next one is going to be utility savings. So try to see if there are ways around the house that you can save money with utilities. Turn your lights off frequently, use less water, try to use less things like gas and things like that around your house. There are a lot of efficient ways that you can do this. There's even apps now that can help you monitor your consumption of energy and utilities that you're paying for. Definitely recommend checking those out and trying to minimize that, because the game of income and expenses, if you can just keep beating down that number of expenses and your income, even if it stays the same, you're making more money. The difference there is still more if you're pushing down. A lot of times you should be pushing up and pushing down at the same time, so then you have more income coming in and less expenses going out the door. So check on your utilities and limit that exposure. The next one is going to be packing lunch and making food. So a lot of people in the U.S. specifically go to fast food. They order out. You have amazing ease of use now with Postmates and DoorDash and Uber Eats and all of these amazing services, but they cost a lot of money. Even your Blue Apron and all of these delivery services that are bringing you uncooked food that you can cook yourself, it's still a pretty substantial margin that they're making on that. And if you just go to Costco, buy in bulk, and you're able to do a meal prep on Sundays throughout the week, get enough food, freeze it, cook it, make things that you understand how to cook on a regular basis, things that you and your partner enjoy. I think that there is often a big issue with people that don't just want to take the time to cook, and that's convenience. Convenience is where money is spent. A lot of money is wasted on convenience. And the reality is cooking, I've learned, it doesn't take that long. It's actually like 15, 20 minutes, and you can whip something up pretty quickly just with a pan and a stove, and you got rice, beans, you got meats, all sorts of stuff. I'm not a chef by any means, but it definitely saves a lot of money. And one fun trick that my wife and I have used for years now is the more dishes in the sink is a good thing, because that is like dollar signs that we're saving. Whenever you see dishes stacked in the sink, that's just money being saved. That's not being spent on pizza delivery, Postmates, DoorDash, all these different companies that are really making a killing right now. So the last one that I really wanted to mention is about a staycation. Now, this is a popular word, kind of a buzzword, but I highly recommend that if you are frugal and you do manage your money really well, your expenses, you're monitoring every dollar that's going out, you're monitoring every dollar that's coming in, you're making sure that you're increasing your income streams, decreasing your expenses every month, staycations are very important. Making sure that you and your partner or yourself have some time to really mentally prepare in the midst of, if the world's burning, you need to really feel comfortable taking some time to relax and to unplug, and do your best to unplug, because it's a really hard time right now for millions and millions of people, and often you can get lost in translation with what's going on, budgeting, savings, your income, whether you're on unemployment and you have fixed amounts coming in. There's just a lot of uncertainty and fear right now. So I highly recommend staycations, making sure that you just go somewhere in your city, in your town, unplug, whether it's in the mountains or the beach or wherever, and just unplug for a little bit, just to free your mind up a little bit, and you will feel better. You will feel much better if you do that. And it's cheap. You don't have to spend a bunch of money to drive 20 minutes. It's literally the price of gas, which is probably like $1 or $2 in gas, depending on your car. So it really is something that I always recommend to people. So that is the main list that I have. And I think that I wanted to go over them real quick, just so that everybody remembers what they are one last time. Eliminate your debt. Get rid of your car loans. Get rid of as much credit card debt as you possibly can. Pay it off. Take the savings that you have, pay that debt off, and then you're going to be debt free. That's easier said than done, but taking a bulk amount of money and removing debt should feel good. It should not freak you out. It will, because you're removing money and that money goes away, and then all of a sudden it goes to these people that are trying to collect from you. But that is money that's spent already. That's money that is already gone. So it's the same thing. It's just a way of getting around that. So eliminating debt, that's your number one. You need to set goals for your income streams and your savings wise. You need to pay yourself first and foremost. Make sure that there's a foundation, you're protected, you're safe, your family's protected financially before you really start jumping into new ventures and things like that. Quit vices or slow them down, drinking, smoking, all sorts of stuff like that. This could even go down the path of doing things like sports, stuff like that. Things that just really spend a lot of money for entertainment purposes, I think, is something that I would kind of classify as a vice. But the next one is, utility savings. Monitor your electric bill, monitor your gas bill, monitor your water bill. See if you can really work on saving on that front. Cook food, pack lunches, buy from the grocery store, buy from Costco. All of your meals, cook them. Think of the plates in the sink as dollar signs that are adding up. And go on a staycation as the final finale there. And that's kind of my favorite one, because that's a mental one. You really need to make sure that you're aligned. And when you hit a goal, hit a new income stream, hit a new savings goal, an investing goal, really just unplug, celebrate the small wins, and you're gonna be happy that you did, for sure. So that is it for this episode of the Sound Money Podcast about ways to save money in your day-to-day life for or during a recession. Definitely let me know in DMs or slap a like on this if you guys like this type of video where I go through some kind of life hacks that I've learned, mentors have taught me, and I've done myself. So definitely let me know, and I will see you guys on the next episode of the Sound Money Podcast.